Lakeside Dental Clinic, Go Island, is brought to you by Lakeside Dental Clinic.
We're here at the Nanaimo Art Gallery on Commercial Street in downtown Nanaimo. We're giving you a whole new perspective through their exhibit, Gleaners.
Retirement and reflection for Vancouver Island Short Film Festival director. The Eggmen don't need social media and a two-clued clocked.
We've developed a couple of themes today on Go Island. One is Gleaners and gleaning. We're going to look at that a bit later on. The other is film. The Vancouver Island Short Film Festival takes place next weekend. And here's Derek Johnstone now with a little look and spending some time at the man who founded it. The 2015 Vancouver Island Short Film Festival runs February 6th and 7th at 2 and 7 p.m. at the Malaspina Theatre at the VIU campus, and Go Island will be hosting from the Saturday night, acknowledging all of the award winners. And speaking of film, we're going to look at Gleaners, a multimedia art exhibit here at the Nanaimo Art Gallery downtown a bit later on. But what's running behind me is a short film from a gentleman named Joost Konijn from the Netherlands, and he has a wooden car that is fueled by wood, and this is sort of a documentary of his experiences driving around the countryside, gleaning stories and wood. We're going to take another look at the short Film Festival with the official trailer put together by our very own Jocelyn Matwee.
Still to come today, carving a niche without social media, sugar needs a home, and Todd and Derek in a race against time.
Jesse Birch is the curator of Gleaners and the interim executive director for the Nanaimo Art Gallery, and we're sort of being gleaned right now. We're going to get into what inspired this exhibit and what the objective is, but there's a part of it right in the middle, and it's actually gleaning from us. How so?
Well, it's a piece that's made through a prepared radio, which means it's a radio where the antenna is fed through all these different objects. Each object has a different kind of conductive property. So we have metal objects, we have a piece of sea coal. Coal has a conductive character to it. We have all these different things that are making the antenna larger and also are pulling from radio frequencies. So we have a microphone on right now, and the frequency that's going through the air is being picked up by the radio, and it's amplifying it and making a strange sound. So we are becoming part of this exhibition.
And then also we are here in the capacity of Shaw TV, gleaning information to share with you.
That's right.
But let's step backwards a couple of steps. And what inspired this exhibit in the first place?
Well, primarily the people of Nanaimo. I moved away for quite a while to study, and I moved back to Nanaimo to work at the Nanaimo Art Gallery. And when I came back, people in the community I couldn't believe how generous they were. I arrived home one day to find a bag of apricots on my porch. And another time, my landlord was cutting a tree down in his front yard, and he said, "Do you want all this wood?" And he brought it over for me. And it just feels like people in Nanaimo have a really generous spirit. There are also programs like Nanaimo Food Share and Nanaimo Community Gardens that have an organized gleaning program. So if you have a tree that has a lot of fruit on it in your backyard, you don't have time to pick the fruit off the tree, they'll send some people over, some volunteers, they'll pick the tree for you, and then they'll distribute it to people who need the food. So Nanaimo is a real gleaning community, so that was one of my inspirations.
Excellent. Now I had an experience like that too. When I moved into a new home a few years ago, there was a flower and a note that said welcome, and I never did find out who that was from. There's an artistic inspiration for this exhibit as well.
Yeah. Millet's Gleaners is a really famous painting.
We're going to come back and we're going to look at some of the ways that this exhibit has gleaned stories and how you can glean some stories by experiencing this exhibit for yourself. It does run until May the 2nd. And we're going to throw things over now to Fiona Shedden, the newest member of our full-time staff here at Shaw TV. And she's spending some time with a couple of guys, the Eggmen, and they've been gleaning from the Beatles. Two of the other exhibitors, artists participating in Gleaners here at the Nanaimo Art Gallery downtown have an interactive element to their contribution. One, Michael Drabert is an artist and storyteller, and it's a part of the exhibit that you don't get to see. The staff and volunteers here at the Art Gallery were told a story by Michael, but you can't see it, you have to hear it. So when you pop into the Art Gallery on Commercial Street, the staff will share the story with you. They've gleaned it from him, you will glean it from them, and onwards it goes. Another part of the exhibit here is from Randy Lee Cutler. She's an artist and educator and an academic type based in Vancouver. She's put together a little part of the exhibit all about salt, and it started in Vancouver with interactive tours about the role that salt plays in community and in culture, and I suppose in gleaning, if you want to look at it that way. And there will be a salt tour of Nanaimo taking place, leaving the Art Gallery here on Commercial Street at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, April the 19th. We're going to throw things over now to Kelly Robinson. There's a little cat who's hoping to glean a home. We're talking about gleaning today, and we certainly hope that you're gleaning lots of informative information in an entertaining way from this edition of Go Island. Gleaners runs at the Nanaimo Art Gallery on Commercial Street until May the 2nd. There's a storytelling element to it, a very strong storytelling element in amongst the objects that you'll find here. What story is this telling?
Well, it's telling the story of perhaps a forgotten history. This is a project that Sean Allward did when he was a researcher at the Hakai Institute on Calvert Island. And the Hakai Institute is currently researching a huge midden that's in the area. Midden is a historical settlement. This one was active between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago, so that's pre-contact. 10,000 years ago is when the first land bridge came across from Russia and Asia to North America. So it's really ancient history, and and archaeologists are trying to piece this information together. Piecing together histories is always a challenge, and usually they get translated into stories. So there's a bit of fact and there's a bit of speculation happening. So in this case, he took a photograph of some archaeologists sifting through the shells and the different objects they found in the midden looking for history. And so what he's done is he's took a photograph of them doing this, he's printed it on canvas, and then he's painted where they're sifting the shells and things, he's painted it green.
Right.
And not just
people
any
in
green.
the television industry and the film industry are very familiar with that particular shade of green.
Yes, it's called chroma key green, and chroma key green is the color that's used to pop images behind people in science fiction or weather reporters. Whenever there's an image behind someone that's moving and they're not in that actual place, they're using chroma key green. So in this case, this chroma key green is for your imagination. So we're not using media to pop anything in there, but you can use your imagination to think about what that history might be in this particular area and piece it together yourself.
Gleaning stories from history.
Yeah.
And there's it's a multimedia exhibit, a lot of video incorporated. There's a video playing over there.
Yeah, there's a video by Stephen Davies. Stephen Davies is from Gabriola Island. He's Coast Salish, and his ancestors were Aboriginal war vets. So his great uncles were in World War I, or great great uncles were in World War I, and his great uncle was also in the military, and his father, I believe, was also in the military. And so he made a short documentary about Aboriginal war vets. So he's taking a story that people might not know otherwise and bringing it to the fore. And a big part of that is for him is to honor his ancestors. So at the end of the film, he goes to Gabriola Island and does an honorific ceremony on the graves of his ancestors.
I'm fascinated with the layers of the theme of gleaning, because he's gleaning the stories, but through that process, he's gleaning pride, or he's gleaning a sense of place and a sense of history and a sense of self. So gleaning can go well beyond a story or an object.
Gleaning is about finding value in things that maybe others might not find value in, and that theme goes throughout the entire exhibition.
Okay, and we're going to continue that theme with this edition of Go Island. We're sending Todd Jones and Derek Johnstone out onto the street to glean some help to solve this next clue in Clocked. Chinese New Year is on February the 19th. It is the year of the Ram. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island Gleaners, running here at the Nanaimo Art Gallery downtown on Commercial Street until May the 2nd. It's something you really should glean for yourself. You can get more information online, www.nanaimoartgallery.com or 754-1750. Thanks for watching Go. We'll see you next time.
Lakeside Dental Clinic Go Island is brought to you by Lakeside Dental Clinic, a division of the Vancouver Island Implant Center, delivering dental services, including dental implants and sedation dentistry, all under one roof. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.